Okay, how's it going, everyone? So, we got a new reaction for you. We've got the Dragon's Dogma 2 Trickster Vocation Breakdowns, part of IGN First. If you didn't know, IGN are currently doing previews at the moment, breakdowns for Dragon's Dogma 2. That's just something between them and Capcom they're doing at the moment. If you want to check out the last video we reacted to above, which we checked out the Thief, Warrior, Sorcerer, and Fighter class, I believe that's what it's called. Check out the card above for that video. It was very interesting, very entertaining. Now we're looking at the Trickster Vocation. So the Trickster is a very unique and creative vocation coming to Dragon's Dogma 2. It's completely brand new. The whole point of it is to deceive your enemy, and there are some very unique skills that you can use in very creative ways that actually makes the Trickster probably one of the more sought for vocations that you probably want to use when you first start the game. Anyway, enough yapping. Let's jump right into it, because I think the Trickster is sick.
Dragon's Dogma 2 offers a wide variety of playstyles depending on what vocation you select. Most of these are the kinds of archetypes that you'd expect: melee sword fighter, speedy dagger-wielding thief, ranged archer, and spell-slinging mage. And some are hybrid vocations like Mystic Spearhand and Magic Archer that combine elements of one vocation with another for a completely
So damn
new
cool,
style
man.
of play. But what of the Trickster vocation? It was revealed as part of the Dragon's Dogma 2 showcase back in November, but little has been shown of this unique class beyond that quick 45-second look and a short description on the Dragon's Dogma 2 website. Fortunately, as part of our visit to Capcom, we got to sit down and play with the Trickster for about an hour, and I can confidently say that this is a style of gameplay unlike anything I've ever seen in an open-world action game.
I would agree. Even the first time I saw it, it was like, this is new.
To start, the Trickster is essentially a pacifist. Their chosen weapon, a ceremonial censer, does little to no damage when it's swung at an enemy. Instead, the purpose of attacking is to build up aggro and pull an enemy's attention towards you. To that end, you also have a special ability called Suffocating Shroud that sends out your smoke in a wide area and draws a large amount of enemy attention towards you. So, the question is, why would you want to get a whole group of enemies swarming on you if you can't actually damage them? See, that's where the word Trickster comes into play. By using the Trickster's unique skill, Ephegeal Incense, you create a simulacrum, or a clone for simplicity's sake, that enemies will perceive as the real you. This clone has its own health bar and will disappear if it's killed, but you can also teleport the clone to you while it's still alive with the press of a button. This way you can basically
dope.
kite enemies to wherever you want, as long as you keep their aggro and keep your clone alive. So, you can maneuver a foe to get an environmental advantage.
The fact that the clone has its own health bar is actually pretty cool too.
When there are cliffs, uneven surfaces, or other elements of the environment that can be used to your advantage. The Trickster has two abilities designed around creating surfaces that aren't really there, but appear real to enemies.
That's so
First,
so sick.
creates a cloud that can be placed off a ledge that the enemy will perceive as real solid ground. And the second, Elusive Divider, will create a wall of smoke that you can see through, but the enemy cannot.
I saw the wall before, but not like a platform off the edge of a cliff. That is sneaky. Oh, that's serious.
Move around to scout the landscape for as long as your stamina will allow. You're super vulnerable while controlling the projection, so using Elusive Divider to give yourself some cover while using it in the heat of battle is a good idea. Crucially, you can float off ledges, ascend or descend at will, and even call your clone to wherever your projection currently is. I'm sure you can probably see why that might be useful.
So
when you
dope.
combine all of these tricks together, the real value of the Trickster comes into view. Before getting into a combat encounter, you can create a clone with Ephegeal Incense, use Visitant Aura to scout out an area for enemies and look for any sort of environmental hazards, like a cliff for instance, recall your clone so that it hovers over said environmental hazard, place a false floor underneath it with Tricky Terrace, then lure enemies close to the clone and use Suffocating Shroud to send all their aggro towards the clone, and then watch with glee as enemies throw themselves off the ledge in an effort to get at you.
And you're dead. He's gonna go for it. Oh.
Now, obviously, this is a lot of prep to go through, and it isn't going to be practical in every single situation, which is why the Trickster is also equipped with some other tricks up their sleeves. First and foremost, they are a support class, relying on and substantially buffing the strength of their pawn party so that they can do most of the heavy lifting. One such buff is Aromatic Resurgence. which supercharges your party, making them hit a lot harder. While I was playing for gameplay capture reasons, I had to make a mental note not to use this buff because my pawns would kill all of my foes before I got a chance to show off any of the more technical tricks of the vocation. The most powerful spell I saw with the Trickster was Dragon's Delusion, which takes some time to cast, but brings forth an illusion of a dragon that terrifies any enemy that sees it, even large ogres, bringing them down to their knees, giving your pawns ample opportunity to do big damage. Since most of the Trickster's other skills seemed well suited for dealing with small to mid-sized
Trickster
enemies,
seems OP,
this
man.
was a really nice addition to see as something that can also let them deal with the bigger and badder enemies.
Trickster seems really OP.
The Trickster was not an easy vocation to figure out in just an hour's time. It took me a little while to fully grasp the aggro system, avoiding pulling too much aggro and not having a way to get away from the enemies I just attracted, but once it clicked, I found it to be a uniquely satisfying vocation that brought to mind one of the core tenets of Devil May Cry's combat. It's not just about killing every enemy in the room, but how you kill every enemy in the room. It's an intentionally underpowered vocation that's designed to encourage creative thinking to solve difficult combat problems in ways beyond just swinging a weapon or hurling a tornado at it. And it's one that I'm very excited to experiment more with once I've got my hands on the full game. Thanks for watching, and this is just the beginning of our IGN First coverage of Dragon's Dogma 2. In case you missed it, make sure to check out our 18 minutes of gameplay covering 4 of the vocations,
Trickster.
And for everything else, give it a ear on IGN.
So sick. You know, they mentioned in the preview that the vocation is underpowered, but it really doesn't feel like it. After watching this, it actually feels overpowered in some sense. So long as you're able to continue using that balance between aggro and making sure that enemies are not going too hard on you, you're almost practically unstoppable. I feel like it. You're creating walls that you can see through and the enemies can stay away from. You can create a fake dragon. Like, it's pretty crazy. And they were talking about one buff in particular where apparently he used it, his party would just kill everything immediately. Maybe that's just for the sake of the demo. Maybe that's something that's balanced in the final game. I can't imagine that they will leave a buff in the game that's so strong that the Trickster can cast that your entire party would just annihilate everything. But from my perspective, the Trickster is actually very powerful. Not underpowered, but very, very powerful. But this is super exciting. I'm not seeing a class or vocation like the Trickster before in any other game or similar game like it. Looking forward to playing Dragon's Dogma 2. That was the Trickster Vocation Breakdown as part of IGN First. Make sure to, of course, go over to their channel, subscribe to them, check out the video on there as well, give them the likes and such. If you have enjoyed this video too, please of course click that like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. There's practically videos on here almost every day. Take a couple of seconds now, go down below, hit that subscribe button for me. It's absolutely free, it'll take you no time at all. Thank you in advance. If you want to see some of the other Dragon's Dogma 2 videos I've done on the channel, check out this playlist right here, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.